Tony Johnson. I'm from Wolf County, live just about a mile out of Campton. How many of you guys would actually get a deer mounted if you killed one of that big one? Guys, I just want to see. I'm just standing here talking, wasting my time. Okay. I shot a deer in 2002 and took it to a guy. I'm not going to say any names, he's not professional. And thought it was the greatest thing ever was. So I got on with it. My wife wanted to bring the house to stone. And so whenever I did hang it in my dad's garage, there was a really bad smell, and hair started falling out. And took it off the wall, and there was actually a ring of blood around the wall. It was really bad. Okay, so I thought it was the greatest thing ever. Then I started talking to other taxidermists, calling around with taxidermists that want to give out information about how you do this, how do you do that. So I stopped and seen this guy in Winchester, and he said, listen, he said, we can sit around and talk about taxidermy all day long, or you can join the Kentucky Taxidermy Association. And so I did do that, and I went down there to compete, and I had the worst deer heads in the crowd. There was 100 mounts there, and my deer heads were the worst. And it was in 2003. Go down there, the judges, they're the best in the world, taxidermists. The Kentucky Taxidermy Association pays them to come in and critique your mounts. They will actually drag out pictures of live deer, go over the whole thing, shine flashlight up in the nose, all these glands, the hair patterns, just the whole 9 yards. So anyway, I got into it and been going every year for 10 years. I spend probably $1,000 a year going to seminars to get better. And I did manage to win the best all-around taxidermist in the state in 2009. Several other reports I went for you with all that. But the biggest thing that I run into with deer is the guys don't cape them out right. And the reason why I drove this deer over here, and I'm not a really good speaker, I'm already sweating, so just bear with me. I'm just a hill boy from Wolf County. A lot of your deer come in and they're cut right through here, okay? Now I want a shoulder mount. Well, you can't do that. I can't put Rogaine on it and make it grow hair back, okay? But a lot of these, this is a brand new form. Just you couldn't even get it last year at deer season. I had to wait till after the first year for these. This is a tan deer hide stretched over and glued styrofoam mannequin. Okay, I order according to the size eye to nose right here on the neck, and then 3 inches down on the swell. Okay, so there's a whole lot of this armpit that's in the deer. So if you cut any of the armpit at all, you cannot do this mount. Everybody loves this mount. This mount is the same as a neck mount, same price, because the materials are the same price. So if you do it right, you can get it just the way you want it. If you cape it out right, you can do the whole front half of the deer if you want to. Okay, but you have to cape it right. And I'm going to try to explain how the proper way of caping it according to that picture over there. It's going to be hard to do. I originally thought, and I don't know if something fell through, that I was going to skin something for the guy. Do you have an ink pen I could use? Can I steal your pencil? Just throw it. A lot of guys, whenever they come up the deer's leg, right here, they'll go about right here and then they will cut open big mistake. Okay, you want to go, then most guys don't have the luxury of having this thing hanging in the building. 99% of the guys are going to do it on the back of their truck. I don't even have one of these. I mean, if you got like 1 or 2 deer a year that you're going to do, most guys are going to do it on the table and back of the truck. Okay, there's a white hair on the inside, brown hair on the outside. Follow that line. And for that particular mount, you'll notice it's got leg studs on it. Okay. So I always like to go all the way to his knee. Not necessary, I need this much, but on a typical mount, I have to roll that over and staple it on the back, so I take extra. Okay. Go up this line, don't go across them armpits, go all the way up, and this hair right through here will be long, you'll know it. Go all the way up to there, all the way up to the very top of the leg. Then, whenever you cut the thing, if you want to, if it's a doe and you want to eat it, you can go right up to the breastbone, no problem. Okay. But if you want to mount it, it's best to stop where those two ribs meets right here. Stop there. That means you're going to have to reach up in there, and it's going to be nasty and all. Okay. Stop there. So you're going to go right up this brown white hair line all the way up to here. Then like a 45-degree angle back to here. I just drew on that. But anyway. Then you can cut a ring around here, split it, and then start rolling it down, cut its tailbone. And real neat trick to show me at the meat shop, you can skin down this side and down the other side, cut that off, and then stick that tail up under your arm, and just go like that, and it will rip all the way down. You don't have to sit here looking at it. It will rip all the way down to right here. If you possibly can, like I said, I take the measurements right behind the ear and 3 inches down. They either skin it to the back of the skull, and then I can't measure how big of the swell it was, and I need to do that to order your mannequin. Or they cut it off right here, and I've got a 50-pound head I have to try to skin, and I have to cut it all the way down to the shoulders, and I should charge for extra skinning and so on, but I don't. I just go with the bunches now. But basically, that's it. Now, I run into a lot of problems with guys gets blood on their beard and they want to hose it out with a water hose. Big mistake. Water is a big ground for bacteria. Bacteria, you said, well, it's a deer head. Bacteria, if you're hanging it like that and you gut it out and fluids, gut juice, whatever you call it, gets on the ears, that hair root's going to go, and the hair is just going to fall out. And it's damaged before I ever got it. And something else I was going to mention whenever he was talking, aging deer, I get this a lot. Oh, I hung it in the cooler for a week. This nose pad will dry out so dry that after I mount it, it will actually crack just because it was so dry. And the eyelids, these eyelids, to do them correctly, it's hard to explain. But I have to split the inner eyelid away from the outer eyelid. And if they hang in the cooler for a week or whatever, that will dry out so bad that I can't take a razor blade and split it properly. And the ears, they have to be split and turned inside out. It's hard to explain. But I separate this outer back skin away from the cartilage. I have to split it all the way to the tip. If on the elk especially, there's up these pine trees and all the hair's gone off the back of their ears, and you try to open them, they bust open or dry it out. But they will dry out in the cooler pretty bad. But the main thing is man, if you shoot one in this kind of weather, you can't get it out of the woods fast enough. But even during gun season, in the middle of the day, sometimes it gets 70 degrees or whatever. I know you want to haul around and show your buddies and all this and that. Take a picture of it, text it to them, because it's your deer. This guy right here brought me a deer. He's from Mount Sterling. His buddy brought me a deer, and the other buddy's deer. Well, the one buddy, all his hair slipped right here, and I've only had in 10 years probably 4 or 5 deer that actually slipped. I've had guys bring them to me that the inside of the neck meat was green, and I get sick on baby diapers and vomiting. I just can't handle it. If you got maggots crawling out your nose, I'm gonna ask you to take it back to your truck. I'm not fooling with that. I just ain't gonna do it. But I did save one that was completely green and stunk really bad. I don't know how it made it, but that one guy's deer right here, and he said, "Oh, I shot it, put it straight in the freezer." Well, let me tell you something else about freezing stuff. If you say you want to get a deer hide tan, you roll it up like a carpet. I'm looking at you because you're paying attention good. You roll it up like a carpet, throw it in the freezer. I've done it. several times. The guy brings it to me, yeah, it's froze. He slaps it down there and I thaw it out and I'm gonna flesh the meat off of it, I'm gonna saw it down. And usually I'll send it off to a tanner, just cause I'm just overwhelmed with deer heads and whatnot. Well, what's on the inside when you roll it up is insulated. It don't never freeze. So the farther I unroll it as it's thawing, the greener it's getting. It's nasty. So if you're gonna throw something in the freezer, don't roll it up. Just drop it in a bag, wad it up or whatever, and just put it in there. Don't roll it anything up. And that's basically it as far as preparation and all that. You're probably not close enough to my house to actually, I will do this for people if you come to the shop. I'll run a knife up the back of the legs like I was showing you and say, all right, now take it home and skin it out. You know, once you get the legs cut, you can take it back home, skin it out, then bring it back. But that's a big long round trip from Breathitt County to my house. Another thing that you can do, and I'll go over and try to explain it, and it's a lot more difficult, but again, if that's a buck of a lifetime for you, and say, man, this is getting mounted, no matter what, I'll never kill nothing no bigger. You can start skinning this down. Once you get to this shoulder, there's no bone there. This hip is all bone. You can't hardly work in half and they're separated. But as you peel this down, you just cut into this real thin muscle. The whole shoulder will just slop off as you're going down. You can cut it off like right here. All right. Then you can actually pull the whole shoulder out and wring it off, and it'll look just like a sock or something. And don't make any cuts up this. And it'll be hard to do. It'll take you a little time, but you can actually skin this without cutting right here. And that's why I tell people on the phone if they live in Nicholasville or Richmond or somewhere. But probably the best thing to do is just run it up to the meat shop. I mean, if I have to do a lot of work on this, or if you mess up your deer to where this is what you wanted, but instead I'm gonna have to cut on this form, and I can cut this whole thing off down here and do your back like that, where I've repaired it, because it's still got plywood right here. But it's gonna cost you as much as your slaughter bill would have been. So you've been ahead, just go ahead and take it to the meat shop, let them cape it out or whatever. And I don't, is there a meat shop around here in Breathitt County?
No, Halsey's is very close.
Okay, well, Halsey's, I didn't want to push Halsey's because, you know, I don't want to push them because there might be a local guy. But Halsey's is his little girl, my little girl, best friends. They're good people. They're clean, whatever. Everybody's got their own opinions, but you take it to Halsey's and then say, I want a shoulder mount. They'll drop it right there. You can run it 10 minutes back to my house to Campton, drop it off, we'll fill out the paperwork. Fish and game, we don't have a game warden in Wolf County, it's kind of a joke. But Fish and game is really particular about this confirmation number, make sure you got that, and we're good. But I'll just do a real quick run over of what you should look for. If you never see me again and you take your deer somewhere else, that's fine. But I'm all about educating the public. There's some really bad taxidermists and taxidermy work out there. The whole thing to a mount is you want it to look somewhat alive. I mean, you don't want it to look like a roadkill goat. Okay? So, I mean, if you're going to pay $200 for it, why not pay a little more? That's where I charge $375 for a deer. Okay? My materials are between $125 to $150, and they keep raising prices, $5 on this, $5 on that every year. But the biggest thing on getting a deer mounted, whoever mounts your deer, make sure they tan that hide. Tanning the hide is making it into leather. Some guys in the old way of doing things is borax, and they call it dry preservative, or I put dry preserver on it. Dry preservative is borax. It's laundry detergent, and that's all it is. All that will do is deter bugs from eating on it after it's mounted. Okay. Have you ever seen deer heads that are yellow looking and their ears are busted open? That's why. That's the borax. This white hair will turn yellow. All this will turn yellow, and their ears will just split and bust open, and it will actually dry rot. just like a tire or anything else with dry rot. It's not been chemically treated. When you tan it, it's actually leather, okay? A lot of taxidermists, whenever I sold this, like I said, I go, if the guy, he's left me about that much neck whenever he brought it to me. I sold all the way down to there. But a lot of guys will have a mohawk running right down the back of his head, and that's because he's going fast and he's getting it done. Whenever you sew it up, you should not catch hair in your stitches, pulling hair and all this stuff up. But another big thing is these are white banded eyes. These are the most expensive eyes that you can buy. Okay, and in this particular deer, I've got him with the white band in the back and the white band in the front on this side. So he's got this looking at you from the side, you know. He's got this attitude. And just the little things like that is what sets off a mount. This is a tear duct gland, and in competition, let me find it right there. In competition, they will hurt your feelings, break your heart. You walk in there and you think, boy, I got a pretty deer. And they'll say, that's wrong, that's terrible. I could disqualify you for this. That's a fatal flaw. Go home, here's a green ribbon, you don't even get nothing, thanks for coming, you know. So you will get your feelings hurt, but that's how you learn. This tear duct gland should be closed. Unless the deer is doing an open mouth, something's going on with his mouth, that tear duct gland should be closed. Another big pet peeve of mine, I see it on really bad taxidermy work, is this skin right here pulls down and you see bone under there. That's really bad. It's really bad. All right. Something else is that deers have a hair pattern. This hair should be combed forward. A lot of these deer will break this hair up with rubbing and whatnot. But in the early muzzleloading deer, the hair will actually flow over the antlers, and the hair patterns. There's a hair pattern here where it kind of goes up to a point. All these little things is what makes a deer look good. A lot of taxidermists will fill this nasal cavity up with wax. I don't even use wax, but they won't have no depth at all in this nose. And mine, you can shine a light up in there and actually see nasal passages and stuff. And this nose will dry flat. I'll go back and put bumps on the nose. And a deer's nose, this is the one that really kills me. A lot of guys will paint it black. Nothing's black in nature but a skunk, okay? If you get right close and shine a light on this nose pad, I start out with red. I paint my noses red. Guys come to my shop and are like, man, what's Rudolph doing here? But you start painting browns and grays and all this and that from wild angles, and then them reds are still down in the creases. And if you really get up real close and shine a light on it, it looks fleshy. But I see a lot of this throat patch should be centered. That's pretty obvious, but I see a lot of them hanging around Walmart and stuff that ain't, you know. This center line should be centered, and the legs are where they're supposed to be, armpits where they're supposed to be. Okay. This is symmetrical. I see a lot of this ears right against the head look like horse ears sticking up. Okay. There's like 20-something, and I could look it up. There's 20-something different muscles in the ear. Okay. For commercial work, I can't sit and rebuild all that. They make 50 cents a hair. But the general shape's there. You got this lower muscle, then you got a muscle that's going to the back of the eye orbit. And so it's basically there. There's muscle detail there. And another advantage of using a tan skin is I can get this really good glue. It's $150 for a 5-gallon bucket of it. But on the early season deer, have you ever seen the jaw muscles and when the deer's chewing, all this jaw muscle and crap going on? If you get on my Facebook page, I won the Grand National Championships with a velvet buck killed the second day of bow season, and then a doe I killed the second day of bow season. But all this facial muscles and blood veins and junk and the veins in their ears and all that's there. You won't see that because this deer's killed in winter time and he's got hair that long. So, but basically, that's about it. I just got back from the Elk Expo last weekend in last year I took in 27 elk. I'm just a one-man operation, plus I'm a school bus driver for medical insurance. So I have a very, very busy schedule. A lot more busy than I want to be. I got into this because I like deer hunting, I'm outdoors, I'm like, oh, I'm Daniel Boone. I really love that. This is the wrong thing to get into if you like to go fishing or anything. I've been fishing one time this year. I told my wife, I'm just work every day. I work on that. I said either I get a woman on the side or I get a Harley Davidson. It's their choice. So I got a Harley. And but thank you, ma'am. Ben. And I've got business cards over there if you guys get on Facebook. I got a Facebook page, also got a website. You go on the website and there's a link that says like me on Facebook or whatever you want to do. But if you get on Facebook, I've got just gobs of pictures to look at and all this and that. So, but do you have any questions for me? Anybody?
Tell me about a bunch of options that you have as far as how you mount the deer.
I've got a poster in my shop, and I order most of my stuff from McKenzie. They're the highest price, but they're the ones that's anatomically correct. But if you bring a deer, and depending on how it's skinned, if it's skinned right, we can do anything you want to do. There's probably 20 different positions. Each one of those positions, it'll be just like this. I can do a mirror image of this, doing it that way, all the way from this big a deer with this big a fish all the way up to the moose. So, and this is the brand new, this is 6900 series. That one right there is the same thing, 6900 series. I can just tell by these armpits are really watered out deep in here, cut deep, and it's really cut right here, so the neck shows good. But there's probably 15 to 20 different. What they do is they sculpt these out of clay. The deer mannequin is just like a skinned deer with muscle. Then they will take this liquid rubber and they will paint it on there, and they will give it 10 or 15 coats of liquid rubber. Then they will cut that off. Well, actually they build a mother mold. And they'll cut that off and they'll throw away their clay sculpture, and then they'll pour foam in there and they'll make a master mold, and they actually mold the clay sculpture. So there's probably 15 or 20 different positions, and then there's 100, 150 different sizes to each position. So, but basically that's about all I can tell you about that. Anybody got any questions? You got a question?
Do you do the full body one?
Yeah, you have the money, man. I do. That requires, and I've sold more than any old woman around my house. I mean, I'm sold, man. I'm a sold machine. It's just a lot of work. Plus, this mannequin right here costs roughly $75. Plus, I pay shipping, and they kill me on shipping. They ship in a box half as big as a refrigerator. So put 5 of these in there and charge me $75 for shipping. So, shipping's what kills me. Then if you get like a big buck laying down, and these are jumping a fence or whatever, they're anywhere from $400 to $600 just for the mannequin. And I gotta try to make that happen. So, a full body mount deer will run you somewhere between $1,500 to $2,000. And that's, like I said, tweaking it and doing all these little details is for the time spent. If you look at these eyes right here, I've got little dots, and that's for each hair follicle up through here. There's just so much detail. Eventually, I have to sit there and say I've done all I can do for this, because if I do any more, I'm gonna make $5 an hour. So, but like I said, I got business cards over there and Facebook, and there's just tons of information and bunches of pictures of the last 10 years of what I've done and all the different critters and stuff. I'm just an animal lover. They was talking about maybe me skinning a goat, and I have goats. Now, I've never killed one of my own goats, so I'm an animal lover. I'm not a bunny hugger by any means, but they're talking about skipping a goat. I told my wife, I said, I'm not going to shoot it. We're going to have to kill it first. Because I have no reason to shoot a goat if I ain't going to eat it. But I have 2 dogs and a cat, a bunch of goats.
What's your average turnaround time?
Less than a year. For the last 10 years, I've been less than a year, but I was building a building for my, I don't mean to stick my finger up at you, but I mashed my finger off. I dropped the building on it in the summer and I was a month. The doctor said your finger will rot off doing what you do. My hands gets pretty nasty, skin under and all, and still numb. But I stopped for a month there, and then that took me a week to take a chainsaw and cut all my farm and stuff out and put up a fence and all that. So I got a little behind when I mashed my finger off, and so I've still got 20 deer to do, which I can bust them out in probably 6 weeks. I'm gonna be right up till deer season. Then I've still got 5 elk left to do, and probably 4 bobcats and a half dozen fish. And then the bears were killed this spring, so they're not expecting them back. So later on, I've got 4 bears, I've got wild hogs, 3 rams. Usually I'm done waiting on elk season to start. So but I had exceptional year last year. All my friends all over the state had really good years. I don't know if the rut fell right, as the deer's recovering from the blue tongue we had in 06 or 07, whatever year that was. But I had 98 deer, 27 elk, and then whatever else I said. So that's a lot for a one-man guy that also was a school bus driver. So, but any other questions?